I'm 78 years old. Most days, I sit by the window in the late afternoon when the light goes soft, and I try to remember who I used to be before I spent my life becoming who everyone else wanted. I don't say that with anger. I say it with tired honesty. There are things you only see clearly when there isn't much road left. I don't have many people to tell this to anymore, so I'm saying it here, quietly, while I still can. I wake up early, even though I don't need to. My body learned that schedule decades ago and never forgot. I make coffee for one, sometimes two, if I feel like pretending someone might join me. I sit at the small table near the window and watch people go to work, go to school, go somewhere they think matters. I used to be one of them. I used to believe being useful was the same as being loved. Somewhere along the way, I stopped asking myself what I wanted. I don't remember the exact day. It didn't feel dramatic. It felt practical, responsible, necessary. That's how most of my life felt. Necessary. When I was young, in my early 20s, I didn't think of myself as someone who disappeared. I had opinions. I had things I liked and didn't like. I liked drawing, even though I was never great at it. I liked sitting alone with music and a notebook. I liked long walks where nobody needed anything from me. But I also wanted to be good. Not good at something, just good. My father used to say, "Don't make trouble. Make yourself useful." In some time, my mother used to say, "People will like you if you don't make things hard." I can too. So I learned how to be easy. I learned how to listen more than I spoke. How to agree even when I didn't. How to say it's fine when it wasn't. When I met my wife, I loved her in a quiet way. She was strong. She knew what she wanted. I admired that. It felt like standing next to a fire when you've always been cold. When she said she wanted to move, I said yes. When she said she wanted a different life than the one I imagined, I said that was fine too. I told myself love meant bending. At first, it didn't feel like losing anything. It felt like choosing someone. I took a job I didn't care about because it paid better. Then I stayed because people depended on me. Then I stayed because leaving felt selfish. Then I stayed because I didn't know what else I was anymore. Every morning, I put on the same kind of clothes. I said the same kind of things. I laughed when it was expected. I worked hard. People trusted me. People liked me. I thought that meant I was doing life right. There were small moments when something in me tried to speak. Sometimes it happened in the car when a song came on that I used to love. Sometimes it happened when I saw someone doing what they clearly cared about, even if it didn't make sense to others. I would feel something tighten in my chest. Not pain, just a quiet pressure. I always told myself it would pass. And it did. That's how it worked. Anything that didn't fit the life I was building, I waited out until it went quiet. I missed things, but not in obvious ways. I didn't miss weddings or funerals. I missed dinners where I was there but not really there. I missed saying what I thought because it might make someone uncomfortable. I missed saying no when yes made me smaller. My children grew up watching me be agreeable. They learned that from me. They didn't see a man who followed his own shape. They saw a man who fit himself into whatever space was left. I don't blame them for not knowing me well. I didn't know me well. My wife and I didn't fight much. People thought that meant we were happy. It mostly meant we avoided saying things that might change something. She made choices. I made room. Over time, that space where I used to be grew thin. I still existed. I just didn't take up much space anymore. The years didn't hurt. They just moved. Work, bills, school, holidays, tired evenings, early mornings. One season looked like the next. I remember one afternoon when I was about 40, I was sitting in the garage, fixing something that didn't really need fixing. My son was inside doing homework. My wife was on the phone with her sister. I looked at my hands and thought, when did these become someone else's hands? They were strong, sure, but they didn't feel like mine. I didn't say that out loud. I went back inside and asked if anyone needed anything. That became my language. The cost didn't arrive all at once. It came in inches. A friend stopped calling because I always said, "Whatever you want." End quote. My wife stopped asking what I thought because I always said, "You decide." My children stopped telling me their real worries because I always said, "It'll be fine." End quote. I trained them not to see me as someone with weight. I don't think anyone meant to erase me. I helped. Then one year, my wife got sick. Not suddenly, slowly. Doctor visits, new pills, quiet fear. I took care of things. I did what needed doing. She died in a hospital room that smelled like soap and sadness. I held her hand. I told her she didn't have to worry. After the funeral, people checked on me for a while. Then life moved on for them, like it always does. I went home to a house that didn't ask anything of me anymore. That's when the silence got loud. Without anyone needing me, I didn't know what to do with myself. I sat in rooms I had lived in for decades and felt like a visitor. I tried to think of something I wanted, not something useful, not something responsible, just something I wanted. Nothing came easily. It felt like reaching into a drawer that had been empty for years and expecting to find something you left there long ago. I started walking more, just to move. I passed places I had driven past for years without seeing. I noticed small things. A man who played guitar badly, but honestly. A woman who painted signs for her shop, even though she could buy printed ones. They looked like they were inside their own lives. I didn't feel jealous. I felt late. Then my brother died. He had lived louder than I had. Made mistakes. Hurt people. Loved hard. Lost hard. When I stood by his coffin, I realized people knew stories about him. Good ones and bad ones. Real ones. When people talked about me, they said I was kind, reliable, easy to get along with. They didn't say anything wrong. They just didn't say much. That night, I went home and tried to write down things I liked, not things I had done. Things I liked. I stared at the page for a long time. I wrote, coffee. Then I crossed it out because everyone likes coffee. I wrote, quiet. End quote. Then I wondered if I only liked quiet because I had been silent so long. I wrote music, but I couldn't even say what kind anymore. I closed the notebook and felt tired in a way sleep doesn't fix. The truth arrived slowly, like everything else. I had spent 50 years making sure nobody was disappointed in me, and in doing that, I had quietly disappointed myself until I stopped noticing. There is a strange kind of grief when you realize no one stole your life from you. You gave it away in pieces, politely. There's no big moment where you can point and say, "That's when I lost myself." End quote. It's more like waking up in a house you've lived in forever and realizing none of the furniture belongs to you. Some things can't be fixed. You can't go back and speak with a younger voice. You can't ask people to meet someone you never introduced. My children are grown. They are kind. They are busy. When they visit, we talk about their lives. I listen well. That part of me still works. They don't ask much about mine. I wouldn't know what to tell them. I don't resent them. I just notice the distance. At night, sometimes I think about the man I might have been if I had said, "I want," more often than, "It's fine." I don't imagine a perfect life, just a more present one. I imagine myself staying with a hobby, even when it didn't impress anyone. I imagine saying no without explaining. I imagine letting people be uncomfortable with me and surviving it. I didn't know then that discomfort passes, but emptiness stays. If you're listening to this, I'm not trying to teach you anything. I don't know how to teach. I only know how it feels to realize, near the end, that you were always allowed to take up space. I thought being small made me safe. It just made me hard to find. I wish I had known that being loved for being easy is not the same as being loved for being real. I wish I had known that silence is not peace. I wish I had known that you don't get a second version of yourself to try again. You only get this one, moving forward whether you are inside it or not. I don't hate my life. There were good days. There were people I loved. There were moments that mattered. But there was also a man inside me who waited a long time for his turn. And his turn never really came. Now, my days are quiet. Sometimes too quiet. I water a few plants. I read slowly. I walk when my knees allow it. I talk to myself more than I used to, just to hear a voice that belongs to me. Sometimes I say things out loud that I never said when it mattered. No one answers, but it still feels honest. If this meant something to you, you don't owe me anything. Just remember that no one else can live your shape for you. People will always need things. The world will always reward you for disappearing nicely, but you don't get paid back for that later. You just get quiet. I'm not afraid of dying. I'm more aware of what didn't get to live. There's a difference. I don't know how much time I have. None of us really do. But I know this is what my life taught me, whether I wanted it to or not. You can spend a lifetime being useful and still feel unused. You can be loved for what you give and still feel unseen. You can be kind and still be absent. I sit by the window when the light goes soft because it reminds me that things can be gentle even when they are ending. I don't need more. I just wish I had been more. That's all I have to say.